Good morning, everybody. Time for another coffee, just as I've woken up. But I want to talk about a little something different. I want to talk about national treasures. And I don't mean like those dinky little coins that have something special about them or what have you. I'm talking about people. People who have that special place in your heart, my heart, even our hearts. Because the way I look at it is we have people who, in some cases, you may not even like them at first. But then as the years go on, you start to see what they're saying, and then it all goes full circle, and then you start to realise what's going on. Now, I can think of a couple of people myself, and it's probably people that a lot of my subscribers might appreciate, but some people might not. And I'll appreciate it if I can use the spoon to get some coffee out of here. Anyway, there are people like Tommy Robinson. There are people like Katie Hopkins who are not afraid to speak what's on their mind. There are people like her and Tommy who will call out the problems when they see them. Likewise, if I was the first person to see the fucking problems, I would call it out. And if there are things that I can do to help other people out with some of the issues that they're having, I will do so. But there are people like Tommy and Katie who have seen a lot of the tripe that's been going on over the years, whether it's related to COVID, whether it's related to Islam, whether it's related to our corrupt establishment, whether it's the two-tier policing. These people are, in my humble opinion, national treasures that need to be guarded very closely because they hold a lot of the people's opinions right now, the silent majority. They hold a lot of the opinions and are not afraid to speak them. They are effectively the speakers of the silent majority. It could also just be someone who isn't political, though. Hell, I can think of a few myself as well, as far as game show gods are concerned, back in the oldie days when I really did have to pay. Well, actually, I didn't have to pay for the TV licence because I was still living under my mum's house, but I digress. There are people like Bob Holness. Anybody remember the Blockbusters game show god? Oh, fuck me. He was good. I loved watching that shit. Or Bruce Forsyth with his... I didn't watch the first one myself, but the Generation game. And then, of course, Play Your Cards Right, and then The Price is Right, and all that shit. Like, there are so many good people who I would class as national treasures. And tragically, not everyone gets to go out as peacefully as the latter two have done. That's what's sad. I can think of another. What about Jeremy Beadle? Guy who I think died of, was it pneumonia or was it something else? I can't remember off the top of my head, but he died of something, I know that much. God, he used to do great wind-ups. But I suspect you hear more for political things more than anything. So, back onto the point as far as Tommy and Katie is concerned, these two people have gone through an inconceivable amount of abuse, amount of threats, an inconceivable amount of misery on the back of a corrupt establishment that doesn't give a shit about us. Or a police force that would, instead of arresting Palestinians who are basically coming along in fucking full terrorist hijab fighting outfits, who are threatening our government and threatening to effectively commit genocide of Jews, they would rather pop over to the local cafe and arrest Tommy Robinson for simply having his meal. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this, because you know it's coming, because say it with me folks, it doesn't suit the narrative. Imagine somebody genuinely anti-Semitic, or sorry, here to support anti-Semitism, or whatever. Somebody who wants to support the Jews gets arrested at a Jew-supporting march. No, I better not fall over, otherwise I might crack my head. Anyway, the point is, treasures like this go through so much abuse by our woke establishment and the woke leftards that we often see. And I know I briefly mentioned it before, and I'll say it here again, nobody's poisoning my mind at all. These are genuinely my beliefs. I'm sick and tired of the left-leaning media, the left-leaning libtards, and of course our corrupt establishment, who are more interested in appeasing a death cult than actually casting it out. And I know people are saying, as said as well, I've been racist towards Islam. But I will argue the point, how can you A, be racist against a religion, and B, I have given this religion more than enough chances to actually have the good Muslims come out and actually expose these cunts. Have they done so? I think the vast majority of us would say, no, they have not gone out of their way to expose the terrorists, the extremists, and the people who genuinely want to do harm to this country. But we'll keep pretending that it's racism. And also, isn't a phobia an irrational fear of something? Last time I checked. I think it's very rational, quite frankly, for people to be afraid of a death cult that its literal religion's name, Islam, basically translates into surrender, submit. But hey, what do I fucking know? But at the end of the day, Islam has put out fatwas on Tommy Robinson. Not so sure on Katie Hopkins. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, though. But we need to protect these people. We need to protect national treasures like these two people, because otherwise, when they go, we'll have nothing left. And then, I suspect if they do end up dead, our government will do everything they can to basically bury them. Basically, they'll fucking dig out the mounds, put them in, and then literally get a JCB full of fucking dirt and just dump that bitch on them. Because they don't want them to be remembered as patriots, as heroes, as treasures. They want them to be remembered as far-right racists and thugs and all that shit. But I'll leave it to you to decide whether they are really just far-right racists and thugs and extremists and all that shit, or whether they are actually doing us a fucking favour here, and that we should be protecting these national treasures with our lives. Because, as that old saying goes, you know not what you have until it's gone.